Joining me today is Jen Davis. She is partner at Bain Capital Private Equity. Jen, it is wonderful to have you here. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Great. So, Jen, change seems to be the only constant in the consumer space. What do you view as the most interesting trend in the industry at the moment, and how are you seeking to leverage that trend at Bain Capital?
I think it's a great question. Look, the consumer sector has gone through such an evolution over really the past decade, but certainly since COVID. There's been massive shifts from a channel perspective between in-store to online, and now you think about brands and retailers that really need to be able to think about serving a customer where he or she wants to shop today. So how do you stay relevant to your customer with an effective product, and how do you deliver it to them in the most effective way?
Right now, Bain has been investing in the consumer space for nearly 40 years. Tell me, how does that experience in pattern recognition impact your approach and view of the market today?
No, I think we have experience in all sub-verticals of consumer, whether it's in the restaurant space, the apparel space, the beauty space, the food and beverage space. So our ability to think about what we've seen in prior or current investments in those portfolios really allows us to apply those learnings to new companies and new brands that we're working with today. So it may be around new product development, it may be around supply chain, it may be around digital channels and marketing overall. And so we can think about best practices both from prior investments and current investments and how we can cross-pollinate the best ideas.
All right, Jen, tell me, is AI one of the next frontiers of change and disruption in the consumer space? And tell me, how does that impact your thinking when making an investment?
I think we're all thinking about AI today, both from a personal and a professional standpoint. I'd say across our portfolio companies today, the most early use cases we're seeing it is around customer service, whether it's with call centers and chatbots, or in marketing. So how can we think about curating and targeting our message to our consumers based on what they're looking for? So those are the early wins that we're looking at in terms of thinking about AI.
Mm-hmm. All right, and finally, Jen, tell me, in such a rapidly evolving consumer space, how does your team keep grounded on your strategy and on the fundamentals when looking at a potential investment?
Look, I think that's a great question as well. We try to be very broad-based in our strategy. As I mentioned, we have had investments across all subsectors, and so we want to really open the aperture, be open-minded about thinking about investment opportunities in all sectors. And so we try to take down both a top-down and a bottoms-up view, both in terms of where the consumer is going, where the macro is going, and where within those specific subsectors there are specific themes. So it might be sustainability in apparel, it may be plant-based meat in food and beverage, but we want to think about not only where the consumer is today, but where they're going in the next 5 to 10 years.
And Jen, you're here today at the New York Stock Exchange. You're hosting an event here. Tell me about what's going on at the NYSE today.
Yes, we're thrilled to be here. It's an amazing location. We are hosting our annual Consumer CEO Summit. So we have about 75 CEOs, both our current portfolio company CEOs and a whole host of other CEOs across the consumer retail vertical. And we're talking about trends that we're seeing in the macro, trends that we're seeing in consumer generally. We're talking about personal and professional resiliency for us to all be executive athletes. And then we're spending time on the AI topic. So it's been a wonderful forum for us to all get together and collaborate and exchange ideas.
All right, Jen, wonderful to talk with you. Thanks for joining me on Floor Talk today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.